Okay, sorry for the beginning. It's just kind of my sense of humor. Anyway, we're going to talk about how to get to the level where you can understand Wagner's approach, or at the very least get started. I see a lot of people try to chuck him into the neo-Riemannian harmony, but that's a very limited system and doesn't take into account too many things. We're going to take this little famous part from his Liebestod. I'm playing a very reduced version. Okay, we're going to explain just that part, but it repeats again on a different degree, and I'll tell you what happens there again. Because all this can actually be explained very easy once you see what's going on. And the reason is I don't like the Tonnetz system because it only explains basic triadic moves in a certain way. It doesn't explain temporary tonal centers, enharmonic reinterpretation, shifting from one chord type to the other chromatically, etc., etc. So this is the line of thinking that you want to be on. You want to actually study from Bach all the way through Beethoven, because that's what Wagner did. He never heard of the Tonnetz system. So what Wagner knows really well is basic chromatic harmony, what he learned from these guys, just pure diatonic kind of moves. In other words, basic diatonic functional harmony. He also understood really well how to combine minor into a system, not a set scale, melodic, harmonic, or natural. He knew how to use them all as a system, not as just set scales. Like such. Just randomly jamming, but used a chord from each scale. So there's no way to escape it. You have to historically look at music through these composers like that. So let's talk about micro-temporary keys, or moves. I'll show you where in a second. I just wanted to play the phrase that's very famous from Wagner here. Right here. There. That move. Right here. What is he doing? He's temporarily acting like he's in A minor and using an augmented sixth chord. So knowing how to use the minor system plus chromatic harmony. Let's talk about enharmonic reinterpretation. In G, the D is the 5 chord, which could be a D7th. Well, that could be enharmonically reinterpreted as an augmented sixth chord. That's enharmonic reinterpretation. So enharmonic interpretation often requires knowledge of chromatic harmony. It might be something that's altered, a B to a B half diminished, and a normal resolution for that would be to an E-based chord, to A minor. That's common as a 2-5-1. But in Wagner's world, you can bypass that, combining micro-temporary with alteration and enharmonic reinterpretation. So you have to be able to spot all of these things to get to the level to identify this. Let me show you what's going on now. That's actually pretty easy. That's just 1-5 in A flat. Without a resolution. One of the biggest parts of Wagner's style is avoiding a tonic resolution, just temporarily using something. He doesn't do this. He's using something that would occur in A flat, but he does not return there. This is where your chromatic mediant shift comes in handy. Avoidance, chromatic mediant. Now what's this? If you look at it closely, 6, 4, 5, half cadence. So the basic concept of the half cadence is still alive, except he doesn't go to a tonic. He skips it. He doesn't go to a tonic of any form. I just played an E flat minor. That's where he's loitering though. Wagner is essentially loitering in moves that are already common in traditional functional harmony, and always bypassing a 1 chord most of the time. He does that with chromatic mediants, or his other trick is the deceptive cadence, another thing he's keeping alive. Now here's a typical deceptive cadence in E flat minor. There we go. Typical resolution in key. And what happens after the deceptive cadence? He enharmonically reinterprets it as a 1 chord. as if we're in B major or C flat major. And does the same exact process as if we're temporarily in F sharp minor now on the 5 chord. So essentially he's avoiding 1 resolutions, that's all. Because again, he does the deceptive like cadence to a D and harmonically reinterprets it as a 1 and then a 5, A7, which is chromatically altered to, or better yet, chromatic mediant to F, first inversion, C7 with the suspension. I keep forgetting to mention suspensions. So it's just, so what are we getting? Instead of 1-5-1, we're getting 1-5 music with a chromatic mediant shift. Okay, interpreted as the new 1, dominant again, 1-5. So we have a bunch of 1-5s in here. So what seems like a huge complex thing is actually just a bunch of typical moves with something chucked in there to throw your ear off and not have to go to a 1 chord. Giving him these long, drawn out sequences. Dominant tonic harmony. So strip away all the chromaticism, you'll start to see little micro-functional harmony moves or chromatic harmony moves. He's using normal formulas to approach half cadences and not resolving them, or using chromatic mediants to get away from resolving to a 1 chord, etc. Or deceptive cadences. He's really fond of that. Here's another thing he does all the time. He oftentimes keeps the 5th as the lowest note. Why? Because it's unstable. And has a sense of wanting to go somewhere. So inversions must be known at this point. And you also have to know in traditional harmony why that's an unstable sound and doesn't seem like it's resolved. That's also part of his style. The point is that if you go historically through music and really learn your diatonic functional harmony, learn how to use the major system with chromatic harmony, the minor system, and all 3 scales combined is to 1 system, etc., plus chromatic harmony in that system, start studying stuff like Bach chorales, Mozart's music. Mozart's highly chromatic, whether people know it or not. If you don't believe me, just go look at his piano concerto, the opening in C minor, number 24, and then it'll be like a huge puzzle to you if you don't understand chromatic harmony, and that one's highly chromatic. Anyway, this is the process you need to go through, is you need to go through all this work in order to get to the Wagner level. And you'll be able to create sequences like that. You have to actually work through this whole system like that. There's no way around it. With someone like this, there are no shortcuts. You have to have a really solid foundation. Because someone like him is still working with the foundation, but in a way that throws people off with the chromaticism. And so my biggest tip of understanding Wagner is go build that foundation through the composers before him. It may take a lot of work and study, but it's well worth it. By the way, if you're interested, I do have courses on how to build this foundation. Stuff like chromatic harmony, just basic functional harmony, etc., etc., pivot chord modulations and whatnot.